Hey everyone, welcome back to KDX Bricks Analytics, where we talk everything Lego investing and reselling. And today I am analyzing 36 sets that retail for $120 or more. And of course, at the end, I will give you my top 3 from everything we talk about. So let's get into it. I've sorted our table by the expensive sets, the big dogs in the room. So far this year, I've watched a ton of videos across 18 channels with over 4,000 individual Lego set mentions. And as many of you already know, every time the presenter mentions a Lego set, I give it an enthusiasm score of 0, 1, 2, or 3. 3 means they think it's a home run investment. A 0 means that they are passing on the set for investing. I'll talk about that in a future video. A 1 is a set they are interested in but still have questions. And a 2 is just an average Lego investment in their opinion. And then I average up the enthusiasm scores and count up the mentions. And for this video, I broke it down by quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 3. So EQ3 means enthusiasm score, quarter 3, MQ3 means number of cumulative mentions year to date. So for our number 1 set on the table, it's this Target exclusive Viking Village, retails for $130. In the first quarter, it had 13 mentions. In Q2, 11 more were added to 24. And now at the end of Q3, we have 35 total, a steady 2.2 and 2.3 enthusiasm score. And even though a lot of people like this set, I still am not high on it. I think the build is very drab. The interior spaces are very small, but the retail price has been bouncing all over the place. Lego has kept it at $130. Target dropped it to the low 100s at one point, and now it's showing $157 on Target with 8,000 bought in the last month. eBay has one for $106 with delivery included, $130 with delivery, another one about $130. So before you subtract shipping and fees, it's selling for about retail on eBay. That's decent, but for the number 1 set, I would want that to be a lot higher. So although it's a Target exclusive, I'm happy to be passing on this one for the most part. Being the number 1 set, it's probably overhyped. And just to point out, the minifigures are not that valuable. But I did get one back in July when it was on sale at Lego for just under $100. And when adding in my insider's points and Rakuten, I got it for an equivalent of $78. So if I did want to pick any more of these up, I'd be really careful about getting a very, very low buy-in price. Second $120 or more set that is retiring at the end of this year is the Coruscant Guard Gunship. R in parentheses in front of the set number and name on the table means that according to Brick Fanatics and BrickTap, that it is expected to retire at the end of this year. I like this set a fair amount. 32 mentions is solid, but I do worry that it's overhyped. But the enthusiasm score has crept up a 10th each quarter. On camel.com, it's been on sale a lot, so obviously this is a discount set. But when we add in third-party sellers, last holiday season it jumped up to 175 and even 200. Recently, a couple of minor jumps. But obviously, this holiday center of mass is very promising. And the minifigures are quite valuable. I'm looking at Brick Economy. Most data on Brick Economy is not very good, but I do find the minifigure values to be decent. Palpatine, $20. Commander Fox, over $30. Amidala, around $15. And then the 2 Shock Troopers are $4 or $5 each. But when we look at the total minifigure value, it adds up to $75, which is just over 50% for this $140 set. So pretty good metrics. And we know historically gunships are super, super popular. And this one gets a little bit of hate because there's so much red in it. And I think in the long run, people will really like having a gunship with the same body design, but a very different color. Third on our table is the first of 2 modular buildings expected to retire at the end of this year. This one is 10297. The Boutique Hotel retails for $230. It is a beautiful set like most modular buildings. 27 total mentions with a 2.1 E-score. I like this one a lot, but it has been discounted a fair amount recently. Here on Camel 3X, we can see that all these drops with the green line are Amazon sale prices as low as $166. So definitely got to be really careful about the buy-in price. But third-party sales early in its life, before it looks like it was even available at Amazon, jumped up to over $300, a fair amount. But this one's been out since 2022, so I actually like the other retiring modular set even better. We'll come to that one in a minute. The Amazon exclusive Ghost and Phantom 2. 27 total mentions, and enthusiasm score has dropped from 2 in Q1 down to a 1.8. I actually like the lower enthusiasm score. I was worried about this set because it was supposed to retire at the end of last year, but during that bloodbath after the May the 4th week when we all bought a bunch of great discount Star Wars sets and then like 5 or 6 good ones fell off the retirement list, I was worried that this one might become stale. It did for a while in my opinion, but I think it's back. $160 is not bad for $13.94 pieces these days when it comes to Lego retail prices. With 5 minifigures, 4 of them are exclusive. Another Star Wars set where the minifigure value is at or just above the 50% retail mark. That is my goal. But here, Hera is almost $30. Lieutenant Beta is over 15. Chopper is around 15. Jason is just over 10, and then Hawkins is just under 10. The Camel 3X chart shows that it will go on discount, so I'll be looking out for good discounts right at the end of its shelf life to pick up more. I think I have 2 of this set. And since this one is an Amazon exclusive, as expected, there are not many third-party sellers above what Amazon is selling it for. It's hard to get Amazon exclusive sets posted on Amazon as a third-party seller while it's still available on Amazon at primary seller availability and prices. But on eBay, it's not bad for a set that's been out since 2023 and again fell off the retirement list last year. Here's 145 with shipping included. There's a low one. Here's 132 before shipping, but then 150, 160 with a $14 shipping on top. So it seems to be bouncing up and down. Overall, it's a discount set for me. I'd like to pick it up for $100 or less. Now on to the Daily Bugle. This is an interesting set, 25 total mentions. Started out with a 2.4 enthusiasm score and then dropped off, and now it's at a 2.1 E-score. Been out since 2021. If I recall, it got a $50 price hike in that fateful August, now a few years ago, I think. But it retails for $350 today, which actually isn't bad for over 3,700 pieces and 25 minifigures. But this set is interesting because it was out of stock for a long time, a couple of months ago at Lego. A lot of people were worried it might never come back, and now it seems to be very much in stock at Lego. So I don't know if it's going to become oversupplied because there was a mad dash for this set a couple of months ago. In fact, in early October, I picked up 2 of them from Amazon for $245. Super happy with that buy-in price. There aren't that many valuable minifigures, but the sheer quantity certainly helps a lot. Firestar is $10, Blade is $15, Black Cat is $15. Again, all of this is on Brick Economy. The Punisher, almost $30, Daredevil at $25, and then Doc Ock at just over $10. But the total current minifigure value is $186. That is over 50% of retail. That is awesome for a non-Star Wars set. Camel 3X looks pretty good. And oh yeah, there's the price hike confirmation. So there have been some discounts, sometimes back down to the $300, but really more often than not, it's a small discount. But when we add third-party sellers in, tons of action. That's what I want to see. So I'm a big believer in this set. And one major point that I haven't mentioned that of course I have to mention is that it is a skyscraper. It is very easy to clean this build up and make it look non-superheroes and just have it be a standard skyscraper in a city layout. That has a lot of appeal and a lot of value. Harry Potter, Hogwarts Express, and Hogsmeade Station, 24 mentions. That is way high for me, but a low 1.8 to 1.5 enthusiasm score. I am passing because $130 is really expensive for a Hogwarts Express compared to versions we've got in the past. And it seems like Lego just makes Hogwarts Express set one after another. Here's the Book Nooks that came out recently. Here's the $130 version we're looking at right now. The $500 collector's edition going for $464 today, according to Brickset. That is very high compared to what people were projecting. But here's the 2018 to 2022 version. Yes, not as much side build, but it retailed for $80, $80 to $130. Ugh. And I don't put much value in the few pieces of track that come with this one. So I'll be passing other than what I always say about Harry Potter sets, which is if I find them 50% off, I will grab them. Target and occasionally Walmart does do that with Harry Potter right before they retire. Now on to Lion Knight's Castle, Lego exclusive. $400 set. As you know, I rarely invest in $400 or more sets. But I love this one. I have 2 so far. The metrics are solid. 23 total mentions. Not the top of the table, but a lot of buzz around it and good 2.3 E-score. It's been out since 2022, long shelf life, but it is iconic. It is a centerpiece of modern day castle builds. 4.7 on Brickset is extremely high. Over 11,000 members own it, another 6,000 want it. Those numbers are very high for a $400 set. And so I'm going with my gut, and I believe this is a winner. It's actually number one in my most recent Power Rankings video. And it seems like right now it still has low supply on the secondary market. On Amazon, no featured offers, only 11 sellers, and the best price is $500. But as I said, it's iconic, and castle sets, medieval castle sets, continue to remain very popular. And then we've got some Bricklink sets that are actually surprising me a little bit. This Forest Stronghold retailed for $300. Brickset is showing almost $400. I still have one of these, I think. It's an interesting build. I don't love it, a little splotchy, but I get the appeal. And then the Medieval Seaside Market retailed for $230. Brickset showing about $330. Nice little build. I did not pick this one up. Adventure in Transylvania, I totally passed on this one, but $350 to almost $500. And then some smaller GWPs that are above average for a gift with purchase. Here's Magisto's Magical Workshop, going for almost $35. Here's the Forest Hideout, almost $40. I had a few of these, did pretty well with them. And then the last comparable to show you is the previous Medieval Castle 3-in-1 that just retired at the end of 2024. Retailed for $100. Brickset is showing almost $120. Remember, a lot of people got this set for $50, myself included, got a few at that price. I'll be really excited to watch this one in the future. I am pumped for it, and I will grab a couple more if it goes on good discount. The first two I got, I paid full retail, but I stacked great Rakuten, I think 15 or 20%, and solid GWPs. From my number one power ranking set to my number two power ranking set, the Motorized Lighthouse, another one that I absolutely love. Beautiful set, $300, maybe a little overpriced, but the motorized light mechanism works really well. 4.5 on Brickset. Not as many as Lion Knight's Castle, but still a lot of members own it and want it, so the demand is there. And here on Amazon, it has never been on sale, and when we add in third-party sellers, a lot of great action recently, up over $450. I know this set isn't going to retire in silence because there are 21 mentions, but the enthusiasm score is still kind of low, below 2.0. So it's possible it slips out and performs like the world map that went from 250 to 450, or the Colosseum that surprised everybody, 550 to 928, and then this awesome Batcave Shadow Box that is 400 to 550. I don't think it'll jump right away because it is on a fair amount of people's radar, but I think it gets up to $500 in a couple years. Lego Ideas, the Orient Express train. It is a Lego exclusive. Awesome set, but I continue to be hot and cold with this one. It is growing on me though, and I guess simply because it is a Lego train that does fit on normal standard gauge Lego track. It is not motorized. It's not easy to make it motorized. The carriages look great. The train engine is a little simple. It is definitely a step down from the original fan design in terms of complexity and detail. But I've had a lot of people in my comments beat me up saying, hey, look, it is an awesome Lego train. It's going to do well. 20 mentions is good, lower enthusiasm score. On eBay, a recent listing well below the $300 retail, but now you've got this one that sold for $300 with bids and $22 of shipping on top. Here's $300 with $20 of shipping. $300 with $27 shipping. Here's one with $350 with $35 shipping on top. So it seems to be bouncing above and below retail, but the fact that there are any listings well above retail, I think is a good sign. So I'm back to being hot with this set, but I haven't picked any up yet. Maybe it'll drop to a good discount right before it retires, but not be on sale so long that it becomes oversupplied on the secondary market. So far, I'm not worried about oversupply. But I do want to point out this set does have 4 mentions against. Now, 2 in Q1, 2 in Q2, none in Q3. Now onto the second modular retire at the end of this year. Not as aesthetically pleasing looking, but very colorful. So this one is the Jazz Club. A few spots lower on our table than the Boutique Hotel, but a solid 2.4 enthusiasm score, 19 mentions. Boutique Hotel came out in 2022, Jazz Club 2023, so a year less on the shelf life. Also $230. And the Camel 3X looks good, rarely on sale, and lots of third-party seller action, up to $400 last holiday season. Virtually every modular building has grown in value. I think this one will follow that same path. Creator 3-in-1 pirate ship, 2.1 E-score, held steady, but up to 19 mentions total. I'm surprised. This one gets talked about a fair amount more than I would ever pay any attention to it. $120, not bad price to part ratio, but the minifigures aren't special. Volume of stuff isn't great. Brick build instead of cloth sales is a miss. I just don't think it's very good value. It's been out since 2020, so all signs for me point to pass. However, when we look at Camel 3X, yes, it's on sale a lot, so have to be getting it on really good discount to go in on it. But there actually is a little bit of action on the third-party sales. Now, it's not that high, about 150 at max. So unless I find it for 45% off, I'm passing. Now, Triwizard Tournament, The Arrival, another boat set, ship set, I guess. Totally different story for me. Higher enthusiasm score, similar mentions. This one retails for $140, so more expensive, but it came out in 2024, so a year and a half shelf life is fantastic. I think we've only had one other Durmstrang ship so far, and it's been a while, and great build, unique looking set. But one thing that's really special about this set is the minifigures. Most of the time with Harry Potter sets, the minifigures don't matter. They're just not that valuable. But here, they are all $12 to $15 for a total value over $65. That's really good for a Harry Potter set. Medieval Town Square, 7, 12, and now 18 mentions, a low 1.6, 1.8, and 1.9 E-score. It is increasing. I am noticing that there is more positive buzz around this set, but there's also concern it will go the way of El Dorado Fortress. $230 for 3304 pieces is fantastic. 8 unique minifigures, they're not that special. The Camel 3X data is looking okay. It's bouncing around into the 350 range, even up into the high 300s. And the most it went for is $390. Obviously, those are pretty good compared to the $230 retail price. But I do worry if maybe this set is just being overlooked, and not in a good way. Sometimes sets that are forgotten have such low supply on the secondary market that they do well. But maybe this just doesn't fit in too well with some of the other sets we've had. Maybe it's too similar to some of the Bricklink sets. So I don't know. It's one that I really want to like, but my hunch just says it's probably a pass. Hocus Pocus, the Sanderson Sisters Cottage. Now this is an awesome set, great build, great minifigures. This one I'm more enthusiastic about than the last, even though the metrics and data look similar. But on this one, the minifigures are really good. The 3 witches are all over $10. Winifred is almost $20, the most valuable one. Annie's over $10, and then the other few are around the $5 range. It's about $65 in minifigure value. Not great against $230. And Camel 3X also doesn't look great. Hasn't been on sale a lot, which is a good sign. But the occasional third-party bumps are just up to about $300. But it looks like the bulk is around $260. But I think this one does have a chance at being a little bit of a sleeper. The building itself is really unique and fits in a lot of layouts. It could be easily modified to go in a medieval layout, obviously theme park related layouts, but also a city layout where you want to have that spooky, abandoned, or unknown resident house down at the end of the cul-de-sac. Hogwarts Icons Collector's Edition 76391 retails for $300 for 3,010 pieces and a few unique minifigures. All of them are golden minifigures. I like this one a lot when it's on good discount, just because it's so iconic. It has so many different props from the books and movies, and I think it displays really well. And these Hedwig builds are hugely popular, but my only concern with this set is recently there was news of another similar set that's about to be released. Obviously, the two look very different in terms of the props that are built up, but I am concerned that the similarities could chip away at this one. I do have 2 of these that I got for equivalent of $170. It was on sale, at Lego, and then some really good Rakuten and GWP. So to get any more, I would need to be under $200 equivalent. The $450 Lego exclusive Diagon Alley, low enthusiasm score, 1.5 to 1.7. I'm passing on this one because it's so expensive. It's been out since 2020 and Lego is rebuilding each of these buildings. I should say re-releasing in new designs each of these buildings. And so I just don't want to take risk on this one. Awesome set. We have one for a personal collection. UCS X-Wing Starfighter, another one that's an easy pass for me. $240 is overpriced. I think it's pretty accurate to the ship itself, but it looks so thick to me, so it's just not that appealing. And this is the third UCS X-Wing. The first one did really well because it was very old. The second one, which is still pretty old if I recall, has not done that well. And plus this one has 7 total mentions against. Oh yeah, and it's been on huge discount at Target last year. So if I were to grab any, which I'm not, I would have to be very, very careful about getting the best buy-in price. Otherwise, I'm starting from way behind. Lego exclusive Ninjago City Markets, the 4th in this series. Solid 2.3 enthusiasm score and a good middle of the table 14 mentions. I love this set, $370. Yes, it's expensive, but it's 63 pieces with 21 minifigures. The value is there. It's a beautiful build. 4.4 on brick set. The other sets in this series have all done well. Of course, the first one did the best, and then each one steps down and how it does on the secondary market. I know City Gardens that retired at the end of last year hasn't really taken off yet. I think these are longer hold times at this point because the value is so great. I think there is pretty good quantity on the secondary market, but I don't mind holding on to such a large set for a couple years longer than I normally would like to. So this is a yes for me when I can stack good at discount and promos. Snow White's Cottage, I still really don't like this set. It is super ugly. $220 seems like decent value with the 10 minifigures, but most of the minifigures are boring. Here on Brick Economy, most of them are $10 or less, other than Snow White that is almost $20. But although I think the build is ugly and I'm unimpressed and I wouldn't want it in any kind of layout, like I don't know where this would fit in a layout. Not in a city build, not in a medieval build, not in a castle build. I do have to acknowledge at least some of the data, which is here on Camel 3X on Amazon. It has never been on sale. And early in life, it had bad third-party sales metrics. And of course, I used this part of the chart to amplify my dislike for this set. But recently, it has jumped up a little bit. Now, keep in mind, it's from $220 to $241 with a couple of jumps into the $260 range. I worry this would be a really long hold time. UCS Razor Crest, 14 mentions, 1.6 enthusiasm score. We've talked about this one a lot lately. I'm passing. Retails for $600. It's been on sale a lot. I would need it for below $400 to be comfortable going in on it. It has 7 mentions against, mostly just because a lot of people say they don't want to invest in such an expensive set. But the one thing to look out for is we've seen the recent Mandalorian movie trailer, and this ship is featured. We don't know if it's this ship, which it can't really be because it blew up, but is it an exact copy, i.e. rebuilt, or is it the Razor Crest version 2 with slight modifications? Either way, with it being featured in the movie, maybe this one gets some value, but I feel like it's high risk, high reward, and there are other sets I'd rather go in on. The Onyx Cinder from Skeleton Crew, 140, 1325 pieces, and 5, all of them unique minifigures. Seems like pretty good value. Ugly ship, all chopped up, but I actually kind of like the ship. The engines rotate. There's some uniqueness to this when it comes to a Star Wars ship. That's part of the reason I like it. It doesn't look like your standard gray, more sleek ship, but a lower 14 mentions and a low 1.6 to 1.8 enthusiasm score. Actually, the E score is dropping by quarter. So yeah, this is one that I want to like, but it's from a Star Wars miniseries, and recently, whether it's Mandalorian, Andor, Ahsoka, these Star Wars miniseries related sets just don't do well. And the metrics on this one, as much as I don't want to believe it, just don't look good. Had some sales recently, and then third-party sales are well below retail. And the exclusive minifigures just aren't that valuable. They're $10 or less, other than Neil, which is $26. Mighty Bowser, $270, but still an absolute favorite of mine. 12 mentions, so that's good. It's not getting too much buzz, but 2.67 and now 2.5 enthusiasm score. That's the highest E-score I think we've talked about so far today. 4.4 on brick set. I couldn't find any Camel 3X data on it. Recently, it sold for $349 with shipping included, $290 with shipping included, $250 with $23 of shipping, and then we've got some lower ones. So early October, and before that, it looks like it was going for below retail after shipping on eBay, but a few recently jumped above. I don't know if that's just a random anomaly or if it was out of stock somewhere, but I am still in on this set in a big way, because of the build and how colorful it is and how accurate it is and just how iconic it is. 76271, this Gotham City, pretty much art set. Another one that I absolutely love. 4.4 on brick set. I still don't think I've seen it on sale yet from the $300 buy-in price. This one is in my power rankings. I just think it's so iconic, unique, and a lot of people are forgetting about it, especially because it hasn't been on sale yet. And this Jim Lee art set that retired in 23 retailed for $120, and it's now $176 on brick set. And the 4 minifigures that this one comes with has good value. $30 for Batman, $30 for Joker, $30 for Catwoman, and then $10 for Harley Quinn, but she's in another set. Even though I've talked about this one a ton and I've seen other people talk about it a little bit, I still think it's a sleeper. Next up, the Disney Castle Lego exclusive. I think this set is a sleeper. A kind of low 11 mentions, a kind of low 2.1 enthusiasm score, retails for $400, only 8 minifigures, but it came out in the middle of 2023, so just a 2.5-year shelf life. And if you remember, the first version of the Disney Castle came out in 2016 and retired in 2022, so something like a 6-year shelf life, retailed for $350. Brick set is showing $354. The fact that this is in the green at all is amazing with that long of a shelf life. And the new one here on Camel 3X looks good. Since it's Lego exclusive, all third-party sellers in the $550 to $650 range pretty commonly. Last holiday season, up to $800 at the peak. Yes, recently, much lower. But I'm not worried about that. After it retires, it will bounce back. And again, the 2-year shelf life is awesome, and it's a beautiful set. A Ninjago set, 71822, Source Dragon of Motion, 8 mentions, a solid 2.3 enthusiasm score. Everybody knows that many Ninjago dragons end up doing well. I've seen this one built, very sizable. Love all the red and the flames with the gold. I think it's a good looking set. 4.6 on brick set. A lot of potential here, but of course I'd want it on good discount. The Technic Liber Crawler Crane for $700. I still believe this set is a dark horse, is going to jump in value, but I'm not going in on it. And now on the table, a couple of sets with 5 mentions, and then the rest have 2 or 1 mention, so I'm passing on the vast majority of these. The large brick-built Land Rover Classic Defender. I don't like it. Comparables don't look too good. The Technic Mars Crew Exploration Rover. There are 3 or 4 in this Technic space-inspired, NASA-inspired sub-theme. I love them all for personal collection. I think because they do go on discount, they will do okay, but a longer hold time and not something I'm going to stock up bunches on. But if I had a few, I would be excited, but I do want to get one of these and build it. And now to the City Space Base and Rocket Launchpad. And Brick says started hanging up on me. I think their server slowed down. That happens every now and then. So I'm using lego.com for the rest of the sets in this video. Some of the City Space sets have done well in the past. Some of them I like. This one looks a little too cartoony. Actually, the current space sub-theme looks a little too cartoony for me, so I'm passing on all these. The Ninjago Dragonstone Shrine, kind of a cool set, a unique Ninjago set compared to what we mostly get. It is 20% discount, been that way for a little while. That's worrisome, but I'm curious on Camel 3X if there's any traction here. Yeah, a lot of discounts recently. Oh, and third-party sellers not doing well. So passing on that one. The Milano Spaceship, definitely no buzz around it. Kind of goes with the mini-scale ships. I know it's larger, but it's up on a stand, so it could fit in, but $180, super expensive. I know it has over 2,000 pieces, but the volume of stuff doesn't look great. But on Camel 3X, it isn't horrible, hasn't been on sale much, and a couple of bumps recently above retail price, but not one I'm interested in unless there was 50% off discount. The Technic McLaren F1, I have it as you know, but not investing in it. The Bowser Express Train from the Mario Action Play set. These are all passes, but some of the Bowser sets do okay if found on huge discount. Wolf Mask Shadow Dojo. I actually don't know much about this set. Maybe it's flying under the radar. Looks like it has a pretty good lineup of minifigures. $120 doesn't seem terrible. And the build is kind of cool. So I don't know. If it was on discount, maybe I'd grab some. And then the last 2 are passes. This Friends Community Center build. It's cool, but not a good investment set. And then the Trotting Lantern that recently got pushed to 40% off and has 4 mentions against all in the last quarter. So easy pass there. All right, time to wrap up with my top 3. Honestly, there's like 7 or 8 really good choices to go with. But my latest and greatest gut feeling is that this Ghost and Phantom 2 will actually do quite well. The last one we got was like 10 years ago for around $100, and now it's $500 on eBay. Of course, the new version won't do that well. But I don't think Lego's going to come out with another Ghost for a while. So maybe a slow burn, a little bit longer of a hold time, but I could see this going up to $300 after 4 years. And then for my second and first place set, I'm going with what I've gone with in the past. Second place, Motorized Lighthouse. Just a gorgeous set. So well designed. And then Lion Knight's Castle. I talked about it. It is the centerpiece. The build is great. A lot of off-angle components, some interior, lots of minifigures. I don't know that it'll jump in value right when it retires, but I think over a 3-year hold time, which is kind of normal these days for Lego investing, I think there's great value here. All right, that's a wrap on this one. Next video, I will be talking about all the sets that are less than $70 on the same table. It's a long list, so we're going to burn through those. Thanks a lot for watching as always, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, and don't forget, my videos are for entertainment purposes only. I do not provide financial advice. You got to get that from somebody else.